What is going on, everybody? It's ZachMichael here, and today we are making an emotional pain beat. So if you guys do enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, check out elizabethrecords.net. Now, this loop that we're going to be using today is actually in one of my weekly loop kits. I make 100 melodies every single week, and I give those out to other producers. So if you want those, hit me up on one of my socials. But let's go ahead and just kind of break down the loop before we get into doing the drums. So essentially, I just chopped up the end and gave the stems. So this is the piano. Playing some chords. And we have a synth bass and a vocal. And we have a guitar lead. That's what the whole loop sounds like. We're just gonna kind of make like a basic little arrangement here, just so we have something to work with as we actually create the drums. Another thing you should know, this MIDI here is of the piano, and I got that from using the plugin Melodyne. Let's go ahead and get right into this. First thing I want to do, pitch this down 2. Yep, and I want to slow it a little bit, like 157. Now let's just get started. We're just going to add some fire drums on top of this. Very simple snare, but also it's got some character to it because it's a higher pitched, sort of like Detroit sounding kind of snare. Start with a basic 2-step. We can always change that. I want to start adding some perks in here. I feel like when you're making stuff that's like this, you want to have little sounds that kind of separate it. And for me, perks is like a big way that I separate the sound of my tracks to like other people. Just a way to add some character. Kind of adding a kick pattern. Let's kind of spruce up the hi-hat a bit, maybe. Kind of just listen. Like places where we can maybe add some rolls. Actually, gonna take this roll here, move that to here. Pitch it down. Okay. Let's keep it up there. I'm kind of using this roll here almost as a perk in and of itself. Like when I'm creating hi-hat rolls, I'm almost looking at them as if they're like a separate sound or like a perk, and just keeping that in mind when I'm creating the rhythm for it. And since there's already so many perks going on in this with different like patterns, I don't want to have too much going on. So that's why there's not a ton of rolls. It's also why there's some pauses. Because like when I'm trying to make a beat, the beat is not the finished product. Like I'm trying to get a song made on top of this. And when you're trying to get a song made on something, there's got to be room for the artist. You have to keep that in mind. But anyway, let's get started on the 808. So here we go. I'm just going to pull in the scale over here just to make sure all these notes are 100% in key. And right now, we have one of my favorite 808s called a box. We're just going to kind of see what notes make sense. I believe that should work. Push it down. There we go. Now let's add an open hat. I'm going to use this colony open hat. Another thing you should know, I'm layering this perk with the open hat. Layering your sounds just to make things sound more full. And for some variation, I'm going to use a clap as well in some section of the arrangement. So let's get started on the mix of the drums. a lot of my drum mixing, just leveling. Like all my sounds really are kind of already how I want them for the most part, unless I want to add like creative effects and that sort of thing. With this beat here, not really necessary. So it just came down to leveling the drums. And there's two kind of main approaches I use whenever I'm leveling drums. I'll either do what I did there, where like I mute everything and I slowly bring things in, or sometimes I'll just let the drum loop play like this and just make changes depending on what quantity of drum sounds there are, and also just like whatever just feels the most natural, because that's realistically the way that I make stuff, is just whatever feels natural. I don't really like force a lot when it comes to my production and like my style and like what technique I use. It's just whatever makes sense in the moment and what just feels right. So we have a 4-bar intro, then we're having like technically a pre-hook, or could be a bit of a verse, or even more of an intro. And so I'm going to throw this little dropper in here, have the clap going, bring in the vocal, bring in the synth bass. Right here, just kind of have first section of the hook, second section of the hook, which is going to be a little different. There's going to be none of those perks, and I'm cutting out some of the open hats just to leave more room. Now here we go, just doing some different arrangement for the verse. Remove those perks all in all, so that comes necessary. Like that. And we're gonna go ahead and have the hat stop on the clap. So I just kind of go in there, I change the cut half a beat, and I just cut that. And we're just gonna duplicate this over. And for the outro, have this go. Then I'm moving this in space, and I want to add the 808. Like that. And there we go. That's how I create a pain beat. So if you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, check out ElizabethRecords.net. Thanks for watching. Head on over to ElizabethRecords.net if you'd like to support me. You can purchase VST expansion banks, drum kits, loop kits, and MIDI kits that'll level up your production there.